Well, believe it or not, I got a special treat for you today. If you've been a long-time viewer of the channel, then you may recognize the face that you're about to see because I've got a special guest for us. And his name is Tim, and I won't give his last name because I don't know what all we were going to disclose on this video. But one of the things that people like about Tim, and I was talking to him recently, I said, I think, Tim, what people like is you're just very honest and you don't ever, and transparent. You don't have to kind of wonder if you're getting the full story from Tim or if he's just kind of, he will tell you what he thinks about it. So we're gonna, I haven't caught up with him in a while, and I came out to his shop and he has really upgraded his situation. And so I look forward to showing you, but I also look forward to seeing. Today's video is sponsored by Yardbook. I've been using Yardbook since 2015. If you need a software to run your lawn care business, go to yardbook.com and sign up for a free account. Let's get started, and I want to introduce you to Tim if you hadn't met him yet. All right, here he is. I told you he was impressive. I mean, can you believe this? Tim, thanks for agreeing to be on the thing. I tell you, it's been
anytime.
a while. Been a while since I've been out here. I thought we were talking just last time I was here. Maybe, or it might have been at your other house. I remember at your other house you had a Harbor Freight little pop-up shed thing. You were keeping stuff in, and I pull up and now I see this thing with 3 bays and plus an open lean-to looking thing over there. So
that's right. Things have changed.
Looking better. So I want you to just show us around what's going on with you, and let's see how things are going. So we're going to take a look at your equipment.
So we got the 30 by 60 enclosed, and then down there's with our tractor.
Yeah. Now, when did you get this? When did you get the shed built?
I got this. I think there's a date on the floor in the concrete. I think it's 21. Right when COVID was crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, we bought this. We moved from our old house. You know, business was good, and so we moved from our old house to this one, and all of this was woods, and so I had some of it cleared, and I got this from Addison Truss. They came out and they put it in, and it didn't take them long. And then, you know, we did the concrete floor, and I put an extension down there for the tractor for the outside of the shop. I didn't want it living in the shop. In the beginning it was, but I found that to be a little highfalutin, so I put her outside.
I built my shop about a year or two before you did.
You did.
One of the big mistakes I made was building it myself. I mean, I had some help. I said I should have just hired a company. I think I spent more money building it myself and probably didn't do near as good a job. But well,
you know, the guy that built this, he did it. You know, he did it for what I thought was a good price. But I don't know if you remember or not, but at that time, you know, wood had gone through the roof, and you know, if you could find it. And I think the 6x6s in this thing, I mean, they were 10 times what they were supposed to cost. So to build this thing, he had told me if I'd have done it a year sooner, that it would have been a fraction of the cost. And I was like, well, you know how I like to do things.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
But it turned out real well. You know, I didn't have anything to do with it. He did it all, and he framed. I'll show you in a minute. I got a special fan in there as well, and then it's got electrical. It's got a bathroom with a septic. So it's a lot better than the 10 by 22. It was a Harbor Freight kit. I think they called it a frame kit.
Yeah.
And it's just pieces of metal, and you shove a 2x4 in it and screw it, and it didn't even have a real wall. It was just, you know, a stud with beadboard on the outside. It's all I could afford. Well, so
how is it can you speak to like the convenience of being able to just kind of walk out here and get going for the day and not having a basically shop in your backyard? Has that been helpful?
Oh man, look, and I don't know if you, well, I don't know if you want to put my house in it, but you know, the house is up there and the shop is back here, but you saw that big truck just came through and it goes on out. And same thing with the trailers and the gooseneck and all that. I can make my loop back here and then park it without having to interfere with anything. And but having these big old bay doors is great, you know, because you can pull certain things out of one spot and then another, and you know, it doesn't all have to. I thought about just getting one door, and I'm glad I didn't, because you know, you're always the first mistake that I made with the 10 by 22, you got to pull everything out to get the thing in the front, you know, and I was like, oh. So this is real nice, and I wanted to do 4 doors, but again, at the time, these doors were 10 times what they should have been normally.
Yeah.
And so I opted for 3 and a walkthrough, but it's great, man. You know, everything's got a place in here. You'll see in a minute. It's way nicer than what I had before.
Yeah.
It's a little messy in there, but you'll get the gist. So,
Yeah.
but it's a lot better than what I had.
Yeah, and I
so,
like Harbor Freight. You know, nothing against them. It just
Right.
at times sometimes you gotta.
well, size-wise, you know,
Yeah,
that
that's right.
frame kit, that was 2 kits to build a 10 by 22.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I didn't have the money then.
All right, let's see what you got in here.
Yeah.
So
This is 30 by 60 enclosed.
I think it's good for people to see like
Yeah.
what you can fit inside there, because I mean you obviously got a lot of stuff, and you know.
Yeah, so, well, I got the truck, and then these are 272 dualies. We'll talk about them in a minute. And then, you know, just the little stuff, you know, the wheelbarrows. I got all the shovels and everything hanging over there. And then when we really get going again, I'll hang the weed eaters back up. I notched a board, and those weed eaters hang up in those notches.
I got you.
But when we're not running, they're kind of in the way, so I put them over there in the shop. Yeah, I just cut a notch right here. And so you slide it in with the handle above it, and it just slides right in. And
Yeah.
you know, kind of a redneck way to hang stuff up, but it works, you know.
So you got, as far as equipment goes, obviously you got the Wright mowers here. Why don't you tell us about these? And I'm assuming by the looks of your mower, and because I know you, but you got two with the dual rear wheel. So can you talk a little bit about as far as the difference in that going, as far as what kind of hill capability?
Oh, man.
Of course, we all want to follow safety manual.
Right, I got in trouble for that last time, didn't I? You can ride on the side of it. They do real well. I don't know if you remember. So this was the original.
Okay.
And then I got a 61-inch single wheel. But I got a new contract, and it was really steep. And I had heard about these things, but never seen one in real life. So it was kind of a gamble, but not real. I mean, I knew it was a good mower. I just didn't know if it was going to work in the application I needed it, because the one I was going to do it in was a lot more than the videos I'd seen. So, you get these wheels put on here, and also where I'm cutting at, you never know what's in the grass either. So I only have to be concerned with things that are big enough to mess up the spindle, like rocks and stuff like that. But as far as, if there was a nail or glass or whatever, you don't have to worry about it. And you can see these tires. This is a brand new lawnmower. I don't know how many hours is on it, but I don't even think it's got 290 on it. But if you look at these tires, that lawnmower right there's got 1,500, and the tires look the same.
Okay.
So they last a really long time. But the footprint on this, is as wide as the dual tires are. The footprint is, it's solid.
Are these come on there, or that's an upgrade?
No. It's an upgrade. So they come, see those pneumatic tires right there?
Yeah, I got you.
So you get a 72-inch with pneumatic tires, and then you have to buy the kit. And the kit is 2 wheel tires, and it has a cylinder that goes in between it.
Okay.
So this cylinder sits in between these 2 tires. So you have to buy this cylinder and the bolts that go on the end and the ones that go in through here. It's a whole kit. And then the tires, because those tires are a special size for this kit.
Okay.
And the reason I have these extras is this is the only problem I've had was the welds broke on this cylinder and the wheel came off. So I bought a couple of extras so I don't have downtime. Everybody in this business knows downtime is bad time, because you're paying helpers. And
while you're putting that up, can you just go ahead? We can talk while you do stuff. But one of the things I was curious about, and you can speak in this in a little bit of vague terms, but sometimes people that are starting a lawn business, they think, oh, it's so competitive, which is true. It is competitive, and yet I think in some ways I don't know, how have you differentiated yourself a little bit to where you can, not facing all the competition? Because you know what I'm saying, if you're out there just mowing
Yeah.
for $50, there's a lot of people
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
So like, at what point did you like say, hey, I got to do something a little bit different, or I'm just going to be one of the companies?
One of the, yeah. So, man, I think it's a lot of different things, really. But I only wanted to do commercial to begin with.
Yeah.
Residential was kind of, a step in the right direction. But my dream was to always do commercial. Because it's bigger properties, and I enjoy that. I like getting out on big stuff and mowing for a few hours, and that's my thing. But I've had friends that have started companies and they didn't do so well because you have got to get up in the morning. You know how it is. You got to get up in the morning. You got to go to work. You got to do a good job. You got to do what you say you're going to do. And it just kind of took over from there, because I can't tell you how many people I talked to was like, well, we had somebody come out and they gave us a bid and then they never showed up, or they didn't show up at all. Or, I had one buddy that was talking about his failing landscape company, but he woke up at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, who does that? That's the end of the day, So, but I just got up, you were there in the beginning. I mean, I got up, man, 5, 6 in the morning, started the grind, and I didn't come home till dark. And in the beginning, I would do anything. I mean, I would cut yards that were just do them for nothing. But you have to work at your craft, and you get to where you can price yards better, and you'll pick yards better. I had some yards, I did them so cheap that one mistake would cost me the season. And some little old lady would want me to come and cut it. And I'd cut her yard for $30. But then I'd have somebody weed eating, ricochet a rock off of a wall, bust a double pane window, and there went every dime that I made on that yard that year. You know what I mean? And you got to replace it. Y'all did it, So, but you walk away from those. It's like, hey, listen, my favorite thing is we're going to stop servicing this area, and so But you take on some good yards, you take on some bad yards, and you learn. And we've just been really fortunate. We've had people call us with commercial accounts, and they were really good accounts, but you got to have the insurance and the workman's comp, and I mean, you've got to be legit. There's a lot of people out there. When COVID came, a lot of people got laid off, a lot of people got fired, a lot of people didn't know what to do. But what they did have was a lawnmower and a trailer, and so there was a lot of competition out there, and you had to kind of separate yourself from those people, and because a lot of people wanted their yard cut cheaper, and they just wanted the grass cut. They didn't care, so. But we've done real good, man. We've had some commercial accounts, and we've signed some really good contracts that have really paid off. We got a tractor outside now with a bush hog, a 12-foot bush hog, and a gooseneck, a few trailers.
I had another question for you. You obviously, and I used to not make fun of Tim, but I was like, if there was ever an expensive piece of something, Tim would go buy it.
I got it.
And so, can you speak to that on a positive way, though? Is like, you obviously are a big believer in having the right equipment, and how that equipment, yes, costs you money, but ultimately makes you money. Can you address that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have the right tool for the right job. I'll put this into perfect perspective. So one of the particular places that I cut, there were 2 people that cut it before me. They cut it with a turf tracer with a sulky behind it. And I asked them, I said, if you don't mind me asking, how long did it take them to cut this? They said about 4.5 to 5.5 hours. I cut by myself, I cut that whole thing in about an hour and a half. But it's because of this machine. The way that it's set up, it's meant to cut slopes. So anybody has got to understand, you've got to have the right, and even if you can't buy it, try to rent it, because there's nothing more frustrating than trying to do a job with the wrong tool. You know what I mean? Nobody goes out to play baseball with a tennis racket.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what the hell? So, but you know what I mean? You just got to have the right stuff. And you know, in the beginning for me, I wasn't in a position. I mean, listen, man, I've shed a lot of blood all over this place to get where I'm at now, you know, and a lot of people that have been in this business for a while, they understand that. You know, sometimes you have to spend the money to open up a door to be able to do a certain type of, you know, just like you with what you do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got some real nice goodies, you know, I'll bet.
Yeah, I gotta kill weeds.
I've seen your little sprayer with the bubble marker, and I was like, now that's cool. Yeah. If it was me, I'd be riding with a beer, just pouring a little out, letting it bubble up and go a little bit further.
That's the other way to do it.
Right.
Hey, a couple other things caught my eye in your shop, and and then there's a couple things outside. So you got all this steel equipment. So is steel kind of your go-to as far as handheld equipment?
Ooh, it depends on what you're doing. And I'm gonna tell you something. So for trimming, for weed eating, I run Red Max. I run the BCZ 250T. It weighs 9 pounds, super lightweight. I got some in the other shop, I'll show you. But they're not expensive. They're $320, I think, and they'll change the head out for a speed head for you. I mean, you can't beat that. The steels, that's just a pole saw, and I've had these as long as you and I've been making videos. Those are my original ones. That's my original blower over there, 7, 8 years later.
Oh, we got with a mister.
Yeah, this one right here.
Oh, that's that one, and you got one with a mister.
That's my original blower.
Well, I remember you telling me about getting that bed redefiner thing.
Yeah.
In the middle there is the bed redefiner.
It does really well, but I like to run it. You know, they say to run it forwards, but I like running it backwards. You know, I guess because I'm crazy. I don't know. But to me, I like running it backwards better. But I also have the 130s.
Okay.
Actually, they changed to a 131 now. I have original 130s.
Yeah.
And 131s that we put these triple tipped blades on to bust brush with.
Okay.
Because they just got a little more beef on them. They're real hardy. And they do real well, but I bought some steel trimmers and they didn't do so hot, man. I wasn't real happy about it. So, you know, I like to use what works best. So those Red Maxes have been doing real good for me. I mean, I had one for 6 or 7 years and it still ran, but the little metal rod in there, it got a little slack in the plastic. And so it kind of, but it was still weedy.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I run, is Red Max for trimmers and then steels for, well, look, there's a little bit of lizard.
I love the Red Max blowers personally. I've been using them for 18 years, I think.
When those die, that's what I'm going to replace it with. But that one, right, we call that one a 750. It's really on a 700, but it blows really good. But I get the valves adjusted and everything, and the spark plugs and the bulbs, all of that I do every year. I get those all redone. And so I haven't had to spend money on buying new equipment, you know, which is great. Everything in here is paid for, everything. All of that is, so I'm debt free as far as, you know, which is nice to not have a lot of crazy payments on stuff. So
the other thing that caught my eye was that Ballard mower.
You ain't seen one of these?
Well, I mean, I've seen the Mojack.
Yeah.
I've seen them, and I'm assuming this is similar.
Yeah,
but
man.
The Mojack's more like a jack, where this looks like just makes you look really strong.
That was actually 1,000 pounds, Jason.
Yeah, let's see how. That's what I'm saying when you pick up a mower. So let's see.
Oh man. Yeah. So, you know, you adjust it to fit on the front, and it'll do a sitting 0 turn too.
Yeah.
But you just and that's it.
And that is pretty nice.
And then you get up under there and beep beep beep, and it's off.
Yeah.
Which is great. And it's got a little brake you can set if you want, but it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's great.
But they did a real good job on it. So
yeah, I don't think I've seen one. I mean, I understand the concept. I just don't know if I've seen one in action.
Well, the first one I had a little handle that and that ended up breaking. Yeah. And you know, this is as simple as it gets. You know, it's like one of the 7-something tools, the fulcrum and lever type.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know.
Let me, ask you one more thing inside the shop, and then we can go outside. But you were speaking to the big fans. I see one over there. Is it the same thing on both sides, or is
that's the fan.
Oh, that's the fan.
And this over here is the louver. But look, I had an engineering company. I'll tell you a funny story if you want to hear it. But I had an engineering company design this thing, right?
Okay.
And so it's powered. So there's a little motor on this. And the way this whole concept's supposed to work is you turn on the switch and it pulls all of the fumes and exhaust or whatnots that you got in here out of the fan.
Okay.
And the louvers slowly turn to create a cross breeze.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense, but then the guy that built it was like, man, I could have got you one of them chicken fans for $25. It does the same thing. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's
if there's
it's a little loud, but you want
to spend more, Tim will do it. So.
Do you want to see it or no?
Oh yeah, go ahead. I like loud things.
I mean, it's not crazy loud, but your microphone may pick up.
Oh, that's all right. So it's.
But see now it's pulling.
Got the fan whipping over.
See, look right here.
Is that supposed to open?
Yeah, but feel the breeze coming through this open door right here.
Oh, I
see how it's pulling?
Yeah.
So he gets all the goodies.
Yeah.
See how it's.
Tim's got the most expensive chicken fan anybody we know. So all right, I got you. It's open.
And so so now you've got the cross breeze.
Okay.
And then when you shut it off.
Yeah. All right.
Fancy schmancy, right?
That's what I said.
Or you get a chicken fan for $25.
Yeah, I get you.
So.
And one more shameless plug is I know, well, for me, at the time of this video, the Lawn Care Life Conference is coming up February 21st and 22nd of 2025 is when we're doing this video. And I got you to sign up, or you gave me a verbal commitment. So that was, and of course, when we get you committed.
Now it's a recorded commitment.
Well, yes. Recorded,
cover this mic up.
But you have been in the past. Could you tell people a little, like what's those conferences, and we feel great about our speakers this year, but like what do you enjoy about those kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, they were great. You know, you're meeting people with the same goals as you, like-minded people that are in the business that all want to succeed, and the ones that are succeeding are there to help you learn the ways that they've done it. I mean, you know, it's just like a parent, you know, they know the ways of the wise. I mean, why wouldn't you go and learn from these people that already know more than you do? You know what I mean? So I absolutely will go. I mean, I'm going to sit there and rub elbows with people that know way more than I do. It makes you look smart.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You'll learn. Just like somebody's watching this video right now and they're going to be like, man, I did that too. And then I'm going to have a solution for them. You know, it could be the trailer, it could be who knows. But that's the same thing I go to these conferences you hold, is because I'm going to learn something that's going to help me avoid a pitfall later, you know, that could cost me a lot of money. So I absolutely go. And the beer.
There you go. That Tim's tips. All right, thanks for watching part 1 of the video. There's going to be part 2 that will be coming out soon after part 1. So watch them in order, and because we got more stuff to talk about with Tim. I want to thank him for being on here. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. If you want to register for the conference, go to lawncarelife.com. There's a link that says conference. If you need help getting here, then get in touch with me. There are scholarships available, thankfully, to our sponsors. We've been well sponsored this year, so that's great, and looking forward to a great event. But go to lawncarelife.com. You also find information on the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy if you want to start a weed control and fertilization business like me. We'll see you guys in the next video.